I already hit it. Gotta be faster than that.
You hit it already.
Hit it. Hey, Kevin.
That's gonna throw off all the EQ. Hold on. Wait. Let's pretend start over. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Click. Did it work?
Okay, go.
Okay. So, did it work? Can you see my screen? Kevin.
Odie.
I have a little tidbit for you. I'm not gonna classify it as a story, but I'm gonna tell you I have a tidbit. I only got 5 hours of sleep, Kevin, and I'm gonna tell you
tonight.
I'm gonna tell you what. Well, last night. Tonight.
This past night.
Yeah, last night.
Okay.
Because tonight hasn't happened yet.
Unless time is a circle, which it is.
I
All
think
right,
it's a triangle.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you go to like. Anyways, doesn't matter. We don't
Don't anger me with your geometry.
Kevin, I wanted to do something nice for you. A little gesture, if you will. And last night at 9.
Is it the middle finger? Is that the gesture?
No, I saw a 9:45 showing of I Love Boosters because you.
No,
said,
you did.
I did. I swear. I'll show you my ticket, dude.
Shut up. You prank me all the time.
I know. Hold on.
You're the boy who cried, I went to the movies. That's what this is.
That's one of the best. That's one of my favorite insults that you've done towards me because it's so funny and accurate. Hold on.
Okay. If you saw the movie, what is Lakeith Stanfield in the movie? I'll bleep it out when you answer.
He's a fucking.
I bleeped that whole thing out. Yes, you did see it. Okay, we verified.
Look, I Love Boosters right
verified.
there.
Okay.
Right there.
All right.
Right there.
You know what?
You did it, Odie. I did it.
You did it. You did right, my boy.
You did right, my boy. Proud of you, son. Thanks, Dad.
I'm starting the theme music now. Good job.
Oh, okay, cool. Hell yeah.
We're starting on a proud moment. It's not even Pride yet.
This is the prequel to Pride.
All right, are you ready to really clap?
Yes.
AKA slap your face.
Are you ready to do the opposite of what you were just doing?
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of the UnPop podcast. I'm your host and Capitan and Papi, todo siempre, Kevin Miner. Him with me as always is.
De Matthews, a chef. I love LI. Fuck you. Drink rat piss. He. I forget like every other week.
Sometime our podcast is gonna there's gonna be sometime in the future where this is more popular and people are coming in on a much later episode. People are gonna start jumping in on episode 230, right? And they're gonna be like, what's with all this? Kevin's he's the captain and he's also my poppy, and then Odie just jumps in and tells me to drink rat piss and swears and
so mean.
What's going on here? Are these? And the answer is we're both collectively losing our minds over a long period of time.
100%.
We're all about the slow burn here, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that we're burning is brain cells. Let's get right into the news. Can we?
I don't know, Kevin. Can we?
Or no? Do you have stuff to talk about?
May we?
Before the
I think
news?
It's the proper way
Do we have
to
stuff
ask
to
that.
talk about before the news? Do you have anything for me?
No, I just wanted to tell you
news?
that I went to go see that movie last night.
You know what I got that's not technically news? I'll just throw this out there. The reason you and I met was a little video game that many people played called Destiny. And this week, the developers of Destiny were surprised to find out that it's going to end soon.
Oh, no way.
It's done. It's finally done. I haven't played it in over a year and a half.
Oh, it's been a while.
How about you? Yeah, long time.
Long time. Probably longer than that.
But we met, and our good friend Byron, we have a whole friend group. We have a whole friend group whose origin story is playing a video game together. Yeah. And here we are now, 150 plus episodes into a podcast, right? I definitely wanted to just acknowledge that and say hey, Destiny was actually one of the best games I've ever played. it's kind of a bummer that it's like being canceled. Also, like, it's not even like really being canceled. I think it's just finally run its course, you know?
I think it ran its course like 2 years ago, but better late than never.
I would agree, like, but and not necessarily for the developers, like, lack of effort. I think genuinely Destiny is like one of the best examples of how corporations can ruin an entire franchise over a long period of time. And that's something that we talk about a lot on this podcast, because at one point you and I were just like, yeah, we've gotten everything that we need to out of this. Like, we don't need to buy another $70 expansion pack to continue our friendship, you know?
And I think the problem with Destiny, and I've heard a few like streamers talk about it, is it was ruined by the oversight that was put upon the game that tried to control too much. And I think that, coupled with the fact that everything was the same, it was you buy a new expansion pack, you go through the missions, you level up, you do this, you get this gun, you do this, and then you finally do the raid, and then it was like a grind of rinse and repeat that just got
100%.
It got old after a while. Like, the game was always fun, but like I didn't always want to just be like, okay, well, we're gonna run this strike 10 times to get the legendary crystals.
Yeah, we're grinding enough in the real world right now. We're trying to grind against the giant machine that is Jeff Bezos's corporeal corporate body.
Did you?
And I don't want to jump into a game and grind after that.
I want to say this before we jump into the news. Did you see Jeff Bezos's fucking dumbass comment about taxing him?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was like,
if you tax me, it won't do anything.
Here's the okay. Like, listen. Dear listener, if at all you are inclined so much to be a rampant blind faith capitalist and or someone who says that they lean to the right because you happen to support economic policy, you're in for a not good time on this podcast, because increasingly the giant corporate behemoths that seem to not give a shit about this rock that we live on called Earth and the government are proving to be absolutely sociopathically deranged and detached from reality in a way that we're going to have to continue speaking out against it. And I don't mean like whole episodes of this podcast are going to become that, but anytime someone like Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg or someone who's just wealthy beyond the point of ever needing to do anything ever again without continuing to further their own personal contribution to society, right? Or someone who happens to have anti-humanist sentiment embedded in their own philosophy, we're going to have to speak out against that. Like, we're just going to have to, anytime that comes up, you're going to hear something happen. You're going to hear us go, hey, fuck that guy.
I feel like we explain this every time we bring it up, too, because I've heard you say.
I like explaining
some
it.
of that.
I like
copy and paste.
I like giving people, I'm transparent every time. I'm like, listen, we are anti-rampant capitalism. We are anti-infinite growth corporate capitalism, which is what we live under. Listen, man, let's get into the news. I read the Communist Manifesto this week.
Yeah, I'm aware.
That's where, like, which actually comes into play when we talk about I Love Boosters later. Let's get into the news.
Okay. All right.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, what?
Yeah, baby. It's the UnPop news coming at you fresh and hot from the command deck of the SS Marlon Brando. Let's see what this week had in store.
Okay, now I played the news.
What the?
Okay, go.
I wish I could hear. I wish we had the ability. I knew when the theme musics were over, so I wouldn't.
I'll do it right now. Yeah, baby.
You already did.
It's the UnPop news coming at you fresh and hot.
All right. The Harry Potter TV show on HBO Max, right?
It's got problems.
We're all excited for, but there's
Love it.
There's already issues. Kevin.
Ron, you can't.
Oh no, Harry Potter.
You didn't even get that reference, did you?
What?
Ron, you can't.
Isn't that from Harry Potter?
Yeah, but you didn't even. All right,
Well, I've only seen the movies, like, not even all of them.
Okay, keep going.
So, season 2 was confirmed, and now it looks like
Already.
Yeah, well, obviously. I mean, it's kind of funny that it took them.
Which is the Chamber of Secrets.
Yes, but we talked about not too long ago how these seasons won't come out every year. It's going to be like every 2 years probably, which is kind of what the movies did anyways. But we've already found out that there's some casting issues of people not returning for season 2. Can you take a guess who?
Oh no, who's not returning for season 2?
Ginny Weasley. So an unimportant character in the first 4
No,
books.
well, yeah, well. All right, listen, they're gonna start out as kids. I feel like if it's a kid character who's not returning for the second season and could be feasibly replaced by someone who looks similar. Like, kids grow up and, like, your face, some people have drastic changes as, like, teens, right? Like, some people look drastically different. So I don't think that's, like, the end of the world. If you were, like, Snape, I'd be like, whoa, hold on.
Already. Recasting.
Yeah, I'd be like, whoa, what's happening here?
I only included this bit of news because I think it's so funny because it's a nothing recasting. It's season 1. They're all children. I don't think this matters.
What if they just do reshoots too? I mean,
she can't be in it that much in the first season. I feel like
Ginny Weasley. Ginny Weasley's like maybe pops up twice in the first book.
Yeah,
like 3 times tops.
Well,
yeah, like they see her in passing.
I would say I remember I've seen the first few movies, and I don't even remember when she shows up, but I feel like it was later on. I feel like it was like 4 or 5. She starts to actually have like a character.
I think Harry goes to Ron's house in the beginning of the 4th one. Like, they pick him up in the car.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the 3rd one.
But, I mean, the books might have
whatever it is.
More.
I got to watch him again. I'm like, okay, there's a couple different camps. And then there's people who do both. And good for you if you do both. I love you and I respect your nerdiness. But, like, there's those of us who watch Lord of the Rings every Christmas, right? And then there's those of us who watch Harry Potter every Christmas. Yeah. And, like, I've never been watch Harry Potter every Christmas, but maybe this year, because I virtually have every line of the Lord of the Rings trilogy memorized.
Yeah,
where I'm just sitting there repeating the lines.
Same amount of time
at this
to
point.
Watch both.
Maybe I should just. I fucking actually probably
with the extended, yeah.
Probably, yeah, because it's like 14 hours to watch all 3 of them extended. Yeah.
Dude,
probably.
I spent more. Lord of the Rings is longer than the 6 Resident Evil movies that I watched back to back in one day.
That's it. Well, if you're watching the extended, you have to be specific about that.
No, even without the extended.
If you're watching the theatrical, it's like 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, roughly. I'm like, so like 9 hours total.
That's about
so
what
you mean
the Resident
6
Evil
movies
run
didn't
times
take
were.
9 hours?
Because each Resident Evil movie is 90 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're short.
Oh, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So Lord of the and somehow, with all of that extra time, Lord of the Rings still remains more engaging.
Oh my God, by a long shot. Dude, you can take the most boring moment from that and the most exciting moment from Resident Evil, and it'd be no competition still.
Exactly. Yeah, so Harry Potter, I mean, maybe I'll rewatch them. But, like, yeah, Ginny Weasley, go ahead, recast. It's fine.
Yeah. I thought this was kind of just funny more than anything because it's like they made, like, when I saw the news article, it was like they captured the what is it called? Title? Headline. That's what it's called. The headline was ahead of season 2, HBO's Harry Potter series has to recast vital character. And I was like, oh. They mean vital character later on.
First off. All right, let's actually, here, I got a weekly fuck you in this segment. Everybody who's writing these stupid fucking headlines for, like, the news outlets on social media and online, where it's, like, the super vague thing, and then it's, like, article in comments, and then so you have to open the thing, and then you have to click on the link in the comments, and then you go to the article, and then they spend, like, 5 paragraphs fucking, like, explaining the plot of the movie, and you're like, I clicked on it because I know the plot. Like,
exactly.
You fucks. And, okay, so first off, weekly fuck you to them.
Fuck you.
Okay, that's done. And then second, a weekly, I'm gonna say weekly thank you to the people who go out of their way to put in the comments right below that comment what it actually is they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, that's my favorite thing to see in a comment section, and I will always heart it when someone's like, they're talking about blank, blank, blank. I'm like, thank you. Now I don't have to do anything else.
Yeah.
Like, You did the thing I needed that the article wasn't going to do.
I saw another one that because like the art of clickbait articles is mesmerizing to me.
It's not an art. It's it's not an art. It's a troll type. You know what? It's an art, but it's like finger painting with the nubbiest fingers.
Oh no,
you know
like
what I mean?
it's an art, but it's not a good
like,
art. Because I saw one that was like Hugo Weaving's underrated DC movie hits big on streaming, and I immediately was like, oh, they're talking about V for Vendetta, but like the average person would be like, what was Hugo Weaving in? And then they'd read, four paragraphs about all this shit, and they'd be like, his movie V for Vendetta, Anyway,
yeah. Here's okay. Sure, it's an art, but it's the art of literally like the simplest Play-Doh mold, like where you're just pushing it through and making it spaghetti. That's the art of making clickbait articles.
Putting
you know what
buzzwords
I mean?
in a
they're just
certain
going,
order.
all right, and it's different enough.
Honestly, anyways, I see a lot of clickbait articles looking for news, so like.
They're horrible,
They're
and then
awful.
some of them even have like AI pictures
they're
for
the
them
worst.
now.
I'm pretty sure half of them are AI
So
anyways.
So fucking dumb. Well, yeah, probably. Dead internet, baby. We're coming. How about undead internet? Let's go there.
We have to go back to 1999.
Let's do it.
I don't know if I want to. We have to go through 9/11 again, Kevin.
I didn't say that. I said let's go back to 1999. I didn't wish anything else. Shit could change.
You know what else can change?
Okay. You know what?
What? Huh?
If you went back to 1999, would you stop 9/11?
I wouldn't be old enough to stop 9/11.
But you have that's a crazy plot for a movie. You go back in time
You're like
and
10.
you're that age, right? So I would have been 12, turning 13, and I would have been like, oh fuck, 9/11's coming. So I would have spent 2 years as a 12-year-old going, guys, there's gonna be a terrorist attack. Like people being like, Kevin's so imaginative. We also had to commit him to a mental facility. He won't shut up about these planes.
That would be incredible. Speaking of shutting up about planes, I don't have a good segue.
I love that I changed your segue.
No, but how do you feel about Rick and Morty?
Is that still on?
Yeah.
Here's how I feel about Rick and Morty. Every once in a while, I see a guy who I'm like, you used to be a juggalo, and he's wearing a Rick and Morty shirt now. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a decent portion of the juggalo fan base that has converted to Rick and Mortyism, and like that's where they're at now. I loved it when it first came out. It was like completely just irreverent, but also seemingly intelligent at the same time. And then as it went on, it just got more nonsensical. And as more and more people bought into the hype, it became more annoying because it just got memeified. You know what I mean?
Well, funny enough, I just looked it up. Season 9 of Rick and Morty premieres tomorrow. That's recording.
Insane.
You want to know what's even more insane? It's been renewed all the way through season 12.
That makes sense, though, because, like, the episodes are only, like, 20 minutes. They're very fast. They're very quippy. And, like I said, it gets more and more nonsensical. Maybe what I'll do is I'll watch the beginning of, like, season. I don't even know what season I stopped on. I should probably, you know what I should do? I should look into it.
I tried to rewatch Rick and Morty, and I couldn't. It just does.
It doesn't age.
It's not the same. It's just didn't work for me.
Well, because it's the same thing as Family Guy. Like, you either love it forever, right? Like we all have that friend that like will make like a Family Guy reference that's clearly a Family Guy reference. Like it's and like you either love it forever, right? And like that's like one of your franchises, or you like move on. And I feel like you and I, and maybe this is the reason we're here with fucking microphones talking about different shit every week. We don't care to stick with something that long.
Nope, not if it's not good, or if I don't care about it.
When things fall off, so do we.
Yeah, but Rick and Morty, despite getting renewed through season 12, is gonna get a full-on movie at Warner Brothers.
You don't need that.
Yeah, why not?
Nobody needs a Rick and Morty movie. Listen, I watched the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie when it came out in theaters. Right, I went and saw it in theaters. I was high as balls when I went to see that movie. And that's the only way you can see that movie. Same thing with Rick and Morty. Same thing with Super Troopers. Same thing. Like, there are movies that are designed for an entire theater that smells like Nog Champa and hot Cheetos.
went two different places, but it all fits. I think that this is an interesting choice because I think a lot of people probably fell off Rick and Morty after the whole Justin Roiland debacle when it came out that he was, a bad person.
That wasn't what made me fall off. I was like, let's see what they do, and the show separated, and I was like, okay, cool, right? Like, at least that happened. So, like, they were like, new voice actor, we're keeping on most of the writing team. Because at that point, Justin Roiland was, like, coming to the table with ideas, but they had a whole team. They had some of, like, the best comedic writers in their area doing different episodes. So, like, and Dan Harmon is still a creative genius. Like, it's not like Dan Harmon was dragged down and all of that. So, like, when all that happened with Justin Roiland, I was like, okay, cool. Let's step away from this for a little bit. Let that shake out. And then when they were like, yeah, Justin Roiland's not coming back, I was like, good. Cool.
Well, Dan Harmon also, on the set of Community and stuff, he had some instances that he needed to apologize for.
Yeah, he yelled at Chevy Chase. He and Chevy Chase hate each other. But
something with I can't remember the details. That's why I'm trying to be careful what I say. But it was something with a woman and like an assistant.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it was something in that realm because he had to apologize.
Oh, damn.
Anyways.
Oh, damn.
We're not here to talk about that. Rick and Morty movie, sure. These first three bits of news, I will say, are just kind of like, why? Because the next one is the biggest why I've ever asked myself.
Okay.
Now,
big why. Here we go.
For better or for worse, Michael Bay is a director that I like his movies because I know what I'm getting. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I watched the 5 Transformers. I've watched
When
Ambulance.
someone says Michael Bay, do you just see a giant explosion in your head?
In slow motion. And like a woman screaming.
Thank you.
When it comes to Michael Bay, I think the Transformers movies, I stand by that the first one's pretty solid, like as a movie.
Yeah.
I think from there, they just get worse. I think The Rock with Nick Cage and Sean Connery is pretty good. I think 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi is pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think all his other movies are they're, you know what you're getting.
Yep.
Now, Kevin, in real life, in history, does the name Operation Epic Fury mean anything to you?
That sounds like something that like a current day 14-year-old would come up with for like a special stream that they're doing on Twitch. You know, like this Operation Epic Fury. We're going to try to take down, I don't know, Dr. Douchebag or whatever. I'd fucking name a streamer.
I don't know any streamers. Moist Critical.
Dr. Douchebag.
What's the guy that did Iron Lung?
We're
Markiplier.
Go after him on stream in Fortnite because it's the special Nicki Minaj v. the Marvel Universe season.
Just gonna twerk on him.
Fortnite. Look out for those nails. She just got new gel caps.
Operation Epic Fury is the real-life military operation that happened a couple months ago where we went to go rescue our 2 fighter pilots that were shot down over Iran. And Michael Bay is making a movie about that.
Wait, that was called Epic Fury?
Yeah.
That's Hexeth.
Yeah. That was my next note on
Remember
this.
when I said a child named that?
Yep, a drunk child.
And then you revealed it was very recent.
It was a drunk child.
It was a drunk child named Pete Hegseth.
Michael Bay is already working on a movie about Operation Epic Fury, which is the operation where we went to go rescue the 2 fighter pilots that were shot down, the 2 fighter pilots in the 1 plane that was shot down over Iran.
It should have been called Operation Oopsie Daisy.
Dude, they're even already writing a book about it too. And look,
I guess patriotism really knows no shame. Like at this point, at this point, it's like, yeah, no, we fucked up, and that's why that happened. But you know what? Movie.
Well,
book.
okay. So, couple things. One,
you wanna blow some stuff up, Michael Bay? What would you do if every time we mentioned Michael Bay's name, I just put an explosion sound effect in the background?
I think our listeners
on
would
the
hate
Bay.
that.
Like you're like Michael.
I think they would hate that because I'm about to say his name a lot. I think 2 things. One, weird that Michael Bay would do a movie like this when there's no action, no explosions, nothing like that. You know, it's not his normal, like, he does normally, like, action. And as far as I know, there was no shots fired during this. And 2,
there were no shots fired. There's going to be in the movie.
Well, that's the thing is, and 2, I just think that this is, like, such a weird like. Michael Bay is known for using the military. When he did the Transformers movies, he's known for partnering with the military. They give him stuff for free. He basically makes Army, Navy, Marine Corps commercials for free in his movies.
Pretty much.
So I'm not surprised about that aspect. I'm just kind of surprised that this happened this year, and it's already. It's not like when
I think
when those
this shows me more an administration scrambling for some sort of narrative W than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it reminds me of when that soccer team got trapped in that cave. Remember? Like,
in Uruguay.
Yeah, and they made a movie
in the mountains.
And they made a movie about it. I'm like, well, that's something that's cool because like it's a harrowing rescue. There was that diver who died trying to saving them. Like that's a
I met one of those guys.
Really?
In real life, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it was wild.
So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not that rescuing a fighter pilot isn't, like, a harrowing story, but forgive me for sounding unpatriotic. I don't, like, they shouldn't be there. We should move on. Let's talk about lanterns. Let's talk about lanterns.
Anyway, lanterns. We got a trailer for lanterns. We got a couple trailers to talk about because we got a really cool trailer that I texted you and was like, we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Lanterns trailer. First off, Jon Stewart with an H. We discovered this. It's not Jon Stewart from The Daily Show.
I think everybody knows that.
With an H.
Their skin color is different. And one's fictional with a green ring.
Not Jewish Jon Stewart.
You don't know he's not Jewish? Just kidding.
No. You're right. We don't.
He's not Jewish.
Isn't the lanterns like their own religion anyway? Like,
I mean,
kind of.
Sort of.
Kind of a galactic religion.
The first thing I want to say about this is the first trailer for Lanterns came out, and we talked about it. And
yeah, we liked it.
A lot of people online, discourse was not enough green, not enough lantern powers. And then, I don't know, I think we talked about this as well. The trailers for Lanterns got all taken down. That first one, it got removed from the internet, and everybody was like, oh, our backlash worked. They're going to redo it. It got taken down because of a licensing issue with a song they used. So that's the only reason it got taken down.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
New trailer, though, shows a lot more of the cosmic powers, a lot more of what we're getting into, and just a lot more of the ring in general.
Yeah, at one point it looks like there's a giant, like, satellite targeting beam, and then it gets blocked by a lantern shield, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Look good, man.
This looks really good.
It's a little grittier. It shows that there's more of like a tumultuous relationship between the two main characters. I don't know what the one guy's name is, and Jon Stewart.
Hal Jordan. Played by Kyle Chandler.
Hal Jordan. Is that Hal Jordan? No, it's Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler's playing Hal Jordan.
Kyle Chandler is a Green Lantern. He's going to give
Kyle Chandler's the
Aaron
actor.
Pierre is
Hal
be the
Jordan
next.
is the Lantern. Nathan Fillion is the actor. Guy Gardner is the Lantern. Aaron Pierre is the actor. Jon Stewart is the Lantern.
So Aaron Pierre is going to get the ring.
His character will, for sure, yeah.
He wants it. He wants it bad. And then Kyle Chandler's like, no, not yet. Because I want to use it for
I gotta
whatever.
make money to gamble.
I'm going to make money.
That was cool.
Which is great because that's one of those things where, like, people, like, so many people are like, yeah, well, if you got the ring, you can just make whatever. Just print money.
And he did that.
If your imagination is so limited that all you're going to do is print money with the ring, I'm pretty sure the lanterns show up and take the ring.
I'm pretty sure they'd be like, you're fired.
No,
you're fired. We've never had to do this before, but you're fired.
But
Usually you die, but
you're not
fired.
even afraid, but you're fired.
Yeah.
And I did like they tied it back together because, like, obviously the Green Lantern stands for hope, right?
Yeah, and then yellow is fear.
And then yellow is fear, and so like you see some of the coloration in this, and like some of the color palette and style choices in this, and then they keep asking the question, "Are you afraid?" And I was like, "Oh, cool, all right, cool." So we're getting into that because their big enemy is
it's gonna be Sinestro in this.
That's his name. I was gonna say, but Modesto or whatever.
Yeah, close.
Anyway,
kind
it's Modelo.
Modelo,
their big
drink.
enemy is Modelo beer. They gotta fight him. But yeah, no. Sinestro is like the orange.
He's
yellowish.
a former Lantern who, depending on the comic run, but one of the more like common storylines with him is he's a Lantern, but he thinks that they need to dabble with the yellow powers in order to stop a certain villain. And that corrupts him and turns him to the dark side or yellow side of Lanterns.
Yeah, so Green Lanterns, Green Jedi, yellow Sith.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, cool. Great.
Yeah,
well,
no,
it looks good.
This looks really good. I've said it before. Green Lantern's one of my favorite DC heroes, specifically Jon Stewart. So I'm really excited to see this. I think that the suit looks a lot better in this version. I think seeing some of the powers is pretty cool. I like that this is supposed to be a True Detective-esque, like, cosmic mystery is what the main plot is, which I think is really cool.
This is a show, right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. It kind of like, there's parts of it where I was like, is this a movie now? Like, as it was playing, you know, I'm like, this looks like it could just be a movie, which I hope is not the case, because if it's a show, that means it's much longer than a movie. Well, you know, so like, I hope like it's not a bunch of like talking heads and then like, here's a Green Lantern power and then a bunch of talking heads and then here's a Green Lantern power. You know, I hope there's other more grounded human-centric action that happens in that moves the plot along.
I think Peacemaker Season 2 and the way that Creature Commandos played out underneath this new DC banner gave me hope that their shows are really gonna, each episode's really gonna stick the landing.
Creature Commandos for sure. Peacemaker Season 2. I did not get all the way through that. I got like 3 episodes in, and I was like, "This is good," but there's other stuff happening.
It was really good. I really liked the way that
cool.
wrapped up. I think
the way it played out.
That the fact that we haven't really gotten Green Lantern in live action, except for the famously bad Ryan Reynolds movie, and then in the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, you get a Green Lantern at the very start fighting Darkseid. But I think that doing a show is a really good idea, because now Aaron Pierre's Jon Stewart is going to be in the Superman sequel, which means I like the way
cool.
I like that James Gunn with the DC direction, and I know we've talked about this already a little bit, but I like that in the first Superman movie, the world's already established with heroes, so we get to see some of who might be in the Justice League down the road. Then we get the Lanterns introduced in the show, and then he's going to be in the sequel. And, like, we're slowly getting all of these Justice League members. And depending on what version of the Justice League they do, we're only short, like, Flash. Wonder Woman's probably going to be in the Superman sequel. So we just really need the Flash, Batman, and Martian Manhunter, and we're good. And I saw fan casting for the guy we like that was in The Predator. Sterling K. Brown should be Martian Manhunter. Is the fan casting, and he was like, please.
That would be insane.
Incredible casting.
Also amazing. Yeah, like that. Oh,
that would be good.
Good fan casting. Normally with fan casting, I'm like,
no, that's a good one.
That one, I'm like, oh,
that's a real good one.
Yeah, he's got the voice for it. He's got that like. He's got that low gravity, like he's got that gravitas to his voice. It's so powerful.
I also saw a really good fan casting of Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, as Reverse Flash, and that would be sick. That's actually a great casting.
That would be sick. You know what I would love is I would love just more Hawk Girl.
Oh,
that's what I want.
Absolutely,
that's what I want. I want more Hawk Girl. I don't care what else happens. Just give me more Hawk Girl.
Her screaming and dropping dictators onto chairs.
More of that.
More of that.
Tons of that. Make a whole like montage of her doing that.
She's going around killing dictators, dropping them,
hitting them with a mace, just dropping them from the skies. Yeah.
Last bit of news. Last trailer.
Yep.
The movie Hope with Michael Fassbender. He's in it.
Yes, I texted you and said we need to check out this fucking movie. This looks amazing. It's from the guy who did The Wailing, which I told you that you need to watch, and you agreed. This is a sci-fi survival thriller.
Oh yeah.
And from the beginning, like when it first starts, you see a character, a female cop, like sideswipe a car into an open, empty, kind of dystopian, apocalyptic-looking lane,
like
and get out with a big gun. Yeah, and from the moment that happened, I'm like, oh, we're getting an interesting film here. And then like you see this guy looking at like a hole through a building, and I was like, is this giant lizards? What's going on? And then like as the trailer went on, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Same because like I had.
There's like a moment where like one guy's like, it's coming right for us, and then like they show a giant alien ship coming out of a cloud, and I'm like, well, you're fucked. Like, like there's like, and then they're in the woods
on
and
horseback?
it's like This looks like what a survivalist alien thriller should look like in a trailer.
You know what
so
this-
for
you know what
me,
this
I'm
reminded
already
me
kind
of?
of like I'm kind of into it.
This,
Cowboys versus aliens.
No, that's a bad movie. This
Oh,
gave
okay.
me the vibes. Dude, okay, real quick. Funny enough, for some reason, Cowboys and Aliens, whenever I watch something on Prime Video, no matter what it is, unless it's like if I watch any movie on Prime Video,
Yeah.
Cowboys and Aliens queues up next, and I don't know
They're
why.
like, hey, do you want to watch Cowboys versus Aliens? You probably started it a long time
well,
ago.
it did. It
and then
started
you're like,
automatically,
nah.
and it keeps trying to replay it.
Yeah, so now it's like, hey, remember you started Cowboys versus Aliens?
Bad movie.
With Aaron Eckhart?
No,
Do you
it's-
remember you started that?
It's James Bond. It's Daniel Craig and Harrison
Oh,
Ford.
I thought Aaron Eckhart was in that.
That's Battle Los Angeles that he's in, where the Marines fight aliens in Los
whatever.
Angeles.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
the
all right, whatever.
Hope gave me the vibes.
That's probably why it's bringing up Cowboys versus
That's a good movie, though.
Aliens.
Battle LA is a good movie.
Okay.
This Hope gave me the vibes of like Prey and
Yeah.
like Aliens 2. Like Aliens.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like,
yeah.
kind of that like your outgunned survival instinct of Prey, but kind of like
Yeah.
a little bit actiony like Aliens. Not saying that they're like a direct
Also,
comparison, but
the giant galloping alien thing is kind of what Carnage should have looked like.
oh,
like
yeah.
but like I'm watching. I'm like, that looks sick. Like
yeah.
it's like a giant. I don't know. It like. It's going to be really hard for people after the zeitgeist of Stranger Things to not look at stuff like that and go Demogorgon, but it's not.
It's not.
It's a giant alien thing. It didn't come from the Upside Down. It came from the spaceship that
There's
fell
also
from
a
the
quick.
sky, I think.
There's a couple different alien species in this. There's one in the forest that's like almost on all fours, but there's a quick shot of like almost like a humanoid one coming out from behind a tree.
Yeah,
Very
that looked
quick.
cool.
Yeah.
A lot of it looks just real cool.
And like I said, Michael Fassbender's
so-
in this, so it's a foreign film, but it's got it's got, I was gonna say American, but he's British.
Well, I think foreign films like that are picking up steam more.
Oh, absolutely.
And especially from famous directors, like Bong Joon-ho.
Oh yeah.
I forget the name of the director in this movie, but yeah, so like it's kind of like when Wong Kar-wai started making more like Western films,
Yeah.
and I like that we're getting there because a lot of the films that were coming out of like Korea and Japan for a long time had themes and they had pacing that Western films in general just don't have, because there's a different approach to the art of filmmaking there that's kind of just embedded in the history and culture. So like I love that fresh perspective that can be brought to films like this, and I love that there's more and more crossover happening.
Agreed. I think it looks really
Thanks.
good. I'm really excited. September, so a little ways away, but
Hell yeah.
looks good.
Whatever. When I saw that it was coming out September this year, I was like, hell yeah.
September's gonna be a good month, I think.
September is going to be a good month, I think. Let's bookmark that now, and so if everything's horrible in September, we can come back and go, we were way off,
Way
guys.
wrong.
We
Everything's
were way
worse.
wrong. This is the worst month. I don't know what's happening. Let's go to the movies.
Let's go to the Okay, see ya.
Odie Matthews at the
I'll
movies?
see you later.
All right.
This is me walking away.
Odie Matthews at the movies.
Don't walk away. Come back. We have to talk about movies. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, I figured we would talk mostly about Groglet and Mandolin guy fight.
Yep, let's do it. Let's get right into it. Mandalorian, not versus Grogu. It's and Grogu.
Mandalorian and Star Wars.
Maybe
the
should have been
Mandalorian and
versus.
Grogu. Maybe they should
Yep,
fight.
Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. Everybody knows him as Baby Yoda, but it's Din Djarin and Grogu, which are just weird. Like, actually, that's what the title of this movie should have been: Star Wars, Din Djarin and Din Djarin and
Baby
Grogu. Because like, it's so like Mandalorian and Baby Yoda had like its own little like cultural ring to it, and then they're like season 2, they're like, his name's Grogu. And everybody's like, ah. And then season 3, they're like, Din Djarin. And people are like, okay.
Okay.
And I feel like that's what they should have really called this movie, just to like really throw everybody off. They would have been like, what's Din Djarin and Grogu? People are like, and then the hardcore Star Wars fans, that's the Mandalorian. That's his real name. They're being true to the canon.
Now,
Anyway.
Kevin, unlike
Odie.
normal times when we see movies, we haven't shared any thoughts with each other on.
You told me not to.
Well, I didn't want you to share any before you saw the movie. You could.
I wanted to tell you everything as soon as I left the theater. There's never been a time that I wanted to text you more and couldn't than this.
Yeah.
Because I have so many thoughts on this fucking movie. Odie, garbage, bad, fun, good or great?
I want to know what you think first.
This movie is fun.
Okay.
It's riding the middle line. The more I think about it, the more it's just fun. It feels like it was 3 episodes of The Mandalorian sutured together to make a movie because they didn't do, what was it, season 4 or whatever? Yeah, so like I feel like this was them going, all right, season 4 is now, like instead of like book 4 in a series, they're like, here's a novella to fill some of the time. Like, that's what this felt like to me. Because multiple times, and not only that, and this is probably the number one thing that I'll get into it in more detail when we get to like talking about criticism of the movie, which I really want to hold off because there's a lot of good stuff in this movie. And I think a lot of people are going to think this movie is great for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of people are going to think, like using our scale, would say that it's good for a lot of reasons. I'm going to say it was just fun, and I'm really committed to that.
Okay.
And it's because... and the reason that I'll get into it, the dialogue just is so fucking dry in this film. I feel like okay, but yeah, keep your turn.
I thought this was really good. Like almost
not great,
almost great, maybe great
almost
if I sat
great.
on it and watched it again.
I think there are moments in this movie that are great. Keep going. All right.
Okay, and I think it's important for me going into this review to say this up top because I think it's important for anybody that is, if you're gonna listen to my opinion or my thoughts on this, you need to know this part first. The first movie I ever saw in theaters was Star Wars Episode 1. That was my first ever theater experience. The first movie I ever watched in my life that I can remember was Star Wars Episode 4. I have been a Star Wars fan since I could comprehend movies. I have said it
very biased.
I've said it before, even if it's a bad Star Wars movie or a bad Star Wars show like The Acolyte or Episode 9,
which was bad.
I still
really
find
bad.
or Ahsoka, I still find myself just
I think Ahsoka was fine.
Bright-eyed, just enjoying every minute of it.
Because you love that universe.
I sat in the very back of the theater, and there was times where I was like putting my hands up and cheering. I cried a little bit at one point. Being in the theater watching Star Wars is an experience that I have missed since 2019. And I think that this was just so exactly what it needed to be. It's so fun. Not knowing what the real plot was going in was a huge benefit for me because I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay. And I agree. It does feel like 3 episodes and you could tell where they would stop. But like,
yeah, 100%.
I loved this from the opening to the end. I thought this was just so fun and good, and I was doing the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, being like, this guy. There's people that show up that I was like, holy fuck, I haven't seen you since the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
I will say this too. My last opening thought.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to have seen Rebels or Clone Wars or anything Dave Filoni created, because a lot of this is him wrapping up a lot of the storylines he started in the Clone Wars and Rebels. And if you don't know those storylines, you can still enjoy this for what it is. But if you've watched the Clone Wars and Rebels like I have, there's a lot of storylines and things and beats in this that get wrapped up and touched upon that was really nice to get some closure on, like the Hutts. So
yeah. I think and this is okay. I'm gonna speed run the plot, and then we'll just get into.
I have lots
spoilers.
of notes.
All right, so So here's the plot, and here's a couple things I'll say. Jon Favreau he speaks so highly of Star Wars and the universe and the franchise, just like you just did, and actually talks about how Star Wars is what made him fall in love with. Well, actually, him and Dave Filoni both talk about how much their love for filmmaking comes from this universe itself.
Yeah.
Dave Filoni very specifically talks about how he fell in love with Star Wars, and Dave Filoni is now going to be in charge of Star Wars moving forward,
the creative
because
direction. Yeah.
Yes, he's going to be the creative director for Star Wars. So this is with Kathleen Kennedy I think this is the last thing she produced.
I believe so.
Star Wars, right?
I think so.
So this is the final thing this is the end of an era for this entire franchise, right? We've got Kathleen Kennedy stepping away. Dave Filoni's coming up. Dave Filoni has worked on so many Star Wars things. Clone Wars, Ahsoka. Like, Dave Filoni and has been in on The Mandalorian since the jump. Jon Favreau, huge in the Star Wars world, especially in this space because he's essentially the one who like came up with the concept for The Mandalorian, right? So we've got Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and then there's one other writer on this movie. This is essentially a writer conglomerate, which also might be why this feels like 3 episodes, because each of them might have taken a part of the movie and written it. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me. But anyway, the plot is, remembering where The Mandalorian and Grogu left off, Grogu's done a little bit of Jedi training now. Not a ton, but a little bit of Force training. And The Mandalorian has reclaimed Mandalore alongside Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan is in charge of Mandalore. Mandalorian is just, he's free to be whatever he wants to be now. Din Djarin owes no debts to Mandalore.
He's a hired
He owes
gun.
no debts to anybody. He's a hired gun, but he has decided, because of his interactions with Grogu, he's going to be a good guy hired gun. So he wants to work exclusively for the rebels or people who have good intentions, right? And then immediately does the opposite of that later in the beginning of this film. But in the beginning, they're taking down a guy who seems to be like an interplanetary despot,
Warlord,
right? He's a warlord, and he's got a bunch of people at his table, and then they go back to Sigourney Weaver after that, and she's like, hey, we've got I know you literally just landed, but we've got a job for you. Why don't you go do this? You can go chase our ace of staves. And then they're like, yeah, we'll take that job. And that takes them to a crazy planet where they meet a Hutt who's jacked out of his mind, played by Jeremy Allen White. And then adventures ensue. And I don't want to say anything else because the rest of it's spoilers. That's about everything that we can reveal that was in the trailer,
and
right?
that trailer doesn't even really paint that picture very well either.
No, it doesn't.
Because, I was super surprised when you find out what the actual,
job is.
Driving force of this movie is.
Before we get into, the spoilers, I do want to say Jon Favreau, whose answers when asked any question about this movie, no matter how simple, have been diatribes.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you think is the strength of The Mandalorian? He's like, there's so many people in the Star Wars universe who work on, he just gets it. And then he's like, so where am I? They literally asked, they were like, why Jeremy Allen White? And he's like, when I first fell in love with Star Wars and the cinematography, and I'm like, where are we going? But he's answering the questions anyway. Maybe I do the same thing here. But so Jon Favreau has said that they wanted this to be a film that someone who's a longtime Star Wars fan, or even just a fan of The Mandalorian and Grogu, can bring in a friend who knows nothing about it, and that friend can have a good time without feeling completely outside of the realm of this universe. And I do think they accomplished that.
I think so too.
I do think I feel like I could bring a friend who knows nothing about Star Wars to this and go, hey, this is actually just a good film. You don't have to get into Star Wars. You might just enjoy this. And they would enjoy it.
Yeah.
And not only that, they wouldn't feel completely confused by everything. They'd just be like, whoa, that's a cool thing. That being said, I feel like it would be worth our time, now that we're in spoilers, to highlight the things that we liked about this movie the most. And then, what's up?
We're in spoilers?
We are now, because I summarized the plot.
Okay.
And then we've kind of moved forward. I don't think there's anything else that we could say that's not a spoiler.
There's nothing worse.
Is there anything else that you could say that's not a spoiler?
Everything I want to talk about might spoil it, so I'd rather just say...
Exactly. Yeah. So we're in spoilers now. So I think it would be worth it. Let's talk about what we liked first, because then I have a whole list of stuff. Maybe just is there stuff that let me put it this way. Odie, is there something in this movie that really stood out to you, like cinematography, sound design, whatever?
Oh, man.
That you really liked? I have 3 things, and I think I'm gonna start doing this with every film going forward, because I think it would be good for us to mention 3 things that we liked, even if it's the worst film of the year, because even the Super Mario Galaxy had a few things that I liked.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Ed Fox. Can I
even
say
the
Fox
Super
3
Mario
times?
movie had 2 things that I liked.
Can I say Fox 3 times?
Yeah, right. But so I think for me, I have 3 things that I liked, and maybe that'll like expound into other things that I enjoyed about the movie, and then I really kind of just want to talk about like more objective and like objective and subjective notes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things about this movie that I liked. I think.
Yep. Go ahead.
I think it was that. I think the action is really solid. I think every fight is really fun. I think there's a good opening fight. There's a good gladiator fight. There's a good final bit. There's a good air battle. There's a good eel monster battle. I think all the fights. There's a good bounty hunter versus bounty hunter battle. They're all really good in my opinion. I
agree.
I really liked the sound design for this. I think that was a really good. I like the way that. I like the sound design and how they used it with the Grogu puppet, because I think the puppet and all of the practical stuff in this movie is really solid. There's one moment where Rada the Hutt and the Mandalorian are talking, and I was like, this looks like he's staring at a green screen. But for the most part, I think it looks really good. I think the action's really good. I think the sound design's really good. I think that the story is really good. Overall, I think that the development between Grogu and the Mandalorian is really good. I like the relationship. I like that it's like fully firm and flushed, and there's an understanding between the two. I like that Zeb's in this. I like a lot of things, Kevin.
Okay, here are the 3 things that I really liked. 1, Ludwig Göransson did a killer soundtrack on this yet again. I mean, constantly knocking it out of the park. Ludwig Göransson also has been working on The Mandalorian since its inception. So even just like the main theme that you hear in the show, he worked on that. He's a Grammy award-winning, multi-talented musician / composer who has worked with Childish Gambino, Ryan Coogler, obviously Jon Favreau, but he just continues to like knock things out of the park, and I loved every single bit of it, and I will highlight one of those things specifically as we're talking about the film. I really liked most of the fight scenes. Like any of the like a lot of the action in this I thought was really good when we were in the action. But that's as far as I want to take that compliment. And then I also the last thing that I really liked, I really liked the chapter of this movie, because this movie really does feel like it's chapters, where there's almost no talking, and it's just Grogu surviving.
I like
in the
that a
wilderness.
lot.
I thought that was a very, very. It was like its own little mini movie within a movie. Mm-hmm. And I really, 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 really like that. I think that's my favorite part of the film, because I like remember like sitting up a little bit and going, "Oh, we're doing something different now," you know. So yeah, I really, really, really like that. Let's just run it back though. Let's go through this movie. Odie, you texted me at the very beginning of the movie, and this is really funny because it's one of my first notes. I'm just gonna bring up my notes.
I have my notes up as well.
So
one thing I want to say
you
real quick.
texted me, wow, the dialogue in this movie, and made a comment on it. My first note about the dialogue in this, I wrote, this dialogue is so fucking dry. Like,
dude,
immediately.
Two of the lines in the first 10 minutes. One is, that sounds like a perimeter alarm. Let's go check it out. It's like, you don't know what your perimeter alarm sounds like? And then the other one is, he's underneath us. We missed him. And it's just like...
The amount of dumb, obvious statements that people make in this film dumbfounded me. Yeah. I was like, what? And you're saying that now? Like, a lot of it feels not well put together. Like, the dialogue, I would venture to say that the dialogue and the order in which things are said in this movie is probably the weakest point of the entire movie for me. Because multiple times it took me out of the movie because I'm like, why are you saying that now?
I think,
like
part of that, I don't know about your theater, but I went to my AMC twice yesterday, once at 3 and once at 10 o'clock at night. And both times the theater was super packed with people in Star Wars shirts. And I noticed that unlike 7, 8, and 9 that were in theaters, my theater was mostly kids under the age of 14.
So I went Thursday to go see this, and that's the day before everything comes out, and it's a holiday weekend, so I think most people were going like Friday, Saturday.
Mhm.
Going Thursday, there weren't a ton of. I was not in a packed theater.
I was in a
which
packed
great.
theater.
There was like maybe 12 people. There was more people in the theater to see I Love Boosters than there was to see Mandalorian and Grogu.
Interesting. A lot of my Mandalorian and Grogu, like my IMAX screenings were sold out, which is why I didn't do that this time.
I'm sure they are now. Like, I'm sure if I looked now,
I'm also
they're
in a
sold
pretty
out for the
big
weekend.
area.
You know?
My AMC's like
Yeah.
one of the major ones in this area. So
Yeah,
but
but like there were more people to see I Love Boosters than there were to see Mandalorian and Grogu, which
there
is
was like
kind of funny.
me and one other person, and I love Boosters. But I also went at 10 o'clock at night. But I will say my whole point to this in the comment on the dialogue is not that I'm forgiving it, because I do agree there's points where the dialogue is very bad in this and dry and clunky.
Thank you.
I think that this might be because they're trying to either it feels like they're trying to balance, let's make this for kids, let's make this second screen viewing, but let's also try to make
it a
this
family.
engaging. Yeah.
Okay, if they're trying to make it second screen viewing at all, you're already off. Like, no, fuck that. Like, it should never be.
Oh no, definitely not.
This is a movie. This isn't a Netflix special. So if that's the reason, fuck right the fuck off. But ultimately, like, the vast majority of the dialogue in this film just feels like it's people saying things that are either happening in the moment or have just happened.
Yep.
And so it, like, for me, because you don't have to do that if it's a family film. There's plenty of family films that have nuance and subtlety and syntax. So, like, I'm not going to settle for, like, the excuse that, like, oh, well, maybe it's for kids. No, like, the original Star Wars was for kids. And there's plenty of vagaries in that.
I think it's them trying to balance, you know, I think that them trying to balance who this is for is what resulted in that.
Okay, let's keep running through it.
Well,
so,
one thing,
in the beginning,
I wanted to say, because one of my first notes was Jeremy Allen White getting second billing on a Star Wars movie is a huge accomplishment. Good for him.
Oh,
he comes up. It's Pedro
yeah.
Pascal and then Jeremy's name for billing. And
well,
I think,
he's big now because of the bear.
and I think that's awesome because, like, you know, he did Shameless and then he did the bear, and you know, he's not that he's not already a big name and talented, but
he is
to be second billing on a Star Wars movie, no matter your opinion on Star Wars, is still huge. Like that's massive.
No, that is huge.
And I
thought that was good.
Yeah.
So Mandalorian and Grogu, they're taking down a warlord. This guy, right? They're taking down this guy. He's played by hold on, I got the name up right here. They're taking down Hemke Madera's. I don't even know what the guy's name is.
I don't think he had a name. Or maybe.
Yeah, they're going to take him down. And this guy, first off, to show that he's a bad guy, he pulls a gun out and just shoots one of the people at his table who's like in charge of like
too expensive.
a sector. Yeah, and he's like, too expensive, get out of here. Then when the Mandalorian is closing in on his target, this warlord guy, the warlord guy opens up a drawer and takes out
guns.
5 other guns. And so one of my first notes is, he has that many guns in that drawer.
He's prepared,
like,
Kevin. He's prepared.
I feel, did he come into the meeting like, all right, this meeting's going to go 2 ways. I'm either going to give everybody here a gun or I'm pulling out my gun. Like, what was your plan, dude? Why do you have that many guns in just a drawer? Like, it just, and to me, this is bad writing. This is them not asking why. Why do you have a drawer of guns? Like, I get it, you're a warlord, but no warlord has a warlord has a gun or like security, and you already have both of those. Why do you have a drawer of guns?
Yeah, I'm also kind of surprised that nobody
That's bad
shot
world
him.
building.
They should just shot him. If I was at his table, just shoot him.
Right? Why did they not just shoot him? Anyway.
Yeah.
So like, and then literally my next note, because it's so like we see the Mandalorian coming through, and like they're showing him. I did like the action in this sequence where like he's in the shadows and he takes a guy out with some of the wire and then shoots both guys.
Yeah.
You know, and then like there's the little droid that's gonna go send for reinforcements that seem to come anyway, so it didn't matter. But like Grogu stops it with the Force and breaks it like a Tonka truck.
Yeah.
I like this action sequence, but ultimately my next note wasn't even until I was like, mini chicken walker was my next note.
Those are canon. Those are from they have stuff like that in the Clone Wars.
I like those a lot.
They're
whatever
like
that is, I
ATSTs
was like,
a little bit.
they are like ATSTs. They're cool as fuck. I was like, that's a fucking cool little mini. And then Mandalorian's just like, we're just gonna run this chicken walker thing down this cliff.
One thing I really liked in that moment is we finally got to see the inside of an AT-AT. We've never seen the inside of their troop carriers before like that.
That was cool. Also, secondary note on that. The guy who designed the AT-ATs has to be constantly getting called into like the office. Like they're like, so you convinced us that these were going to be giant, multifunctional, dominating war machines, but people keep hitting the joints and then they fall apart. Why are we not putting shields on the joints? Also, in a galaxy where force fields exist, even in Halo, there's force fields on the joints of the giant spider walker thing. You know what I mean? Like, these things just are not protected. Like, Mandalorian's like, all right, we're going to weave in between all the legs. Also, who was the, like, you see a giant, like, cavernous ravine type, like, cliff ledge, and you're like, we're gonna walk 3 fucking AT-ATs on this? Like, what, did they just get to it and go, they were like, sir, there's a giant cliff ledge coming up, and he was like, fuck it, we ball? Like, what is, like,
I think
what happened there?
I can answer both of your questions. One, the reason that the AT-ATs are so easy to take down is because George Lucas didn't think past the Hoth battle. And
he didn't.
And 2,
and so every time they show up, I'm like, they're gonna get the legs.
No, well, yeah, because now everybody
like,
knows. And 2, I think they took the AT-ATs on that ravine because that planet had snow. Hoth has snow. AT-ATs were on Hoth.
Whatever.
You know what I'm saying, Kevin?
But then also, like, why on the ravine? Like, I feel like that guy was like, yeah, we're just going
Live
anyway.
life dangerously.
Yeah, I know we're very likely gonna get hit in the legs and fall over into the ravine, but let's go anyway. So like that, like just the setup of all of that.
I loved it.
I'm like, this is very much, I know where you're going.
It was good, and I enjoyed watching him take out AT-ATs.
It was fine.
I like the moment when the bad guy's like, get out there and check it out, and the guy's like, we're pilots, and he's like, I don't give a fuck.
Also, yeah, okay. There's a couple lines in the beginning of this, like the stormtroopers who are like, that sounds like a perimeter alarm, and then the other guy's going, we're just pilots. I'm like, are these just normal people that have been like conscripted by this warlord? Yeah, but then Mandalorian, like, those guys didn't seem like they were like violent at all. Mandalorian's just like, sorry, you're on.
Kevin,
like,
it's the whole thing with Star Wars is
like,
that in the prequels you have the clones versus droids, and that's supposed to be the whole, like, and the Clone Wars TV show really touches on it for the clones. Like, there's a lot of good emotional beats.
Are those guys clones?
Well, what I'm going with is after Order 66, they stopped production of clones, which you find out in the Bad Batch show, because they want people to be more loyal, and they're worried that the clones with the inhibitor chips wouldn't be loyal because, you know, they realize that what they did was wrong. So from the Empire on, it's mostly them either recruiting by force or recruiting through just simple recruiting to get people in
so these
their
are
ranks.
like 2 innocent dudes. Like, that dialogue
hang
really
on.
threw it. I'm like, the Mandalorian's just killing 2 dudes.
No, because
like,
at the end of the Empire falling, people still wanted to be a part of the Empire, so these people still believe in the way that the Stormtroopers and the Empire believed in, so they're still inherently bad. Like, whether they pull out a gun or not, they're still piloting an AT-AT for a warlord who's trying to control people with power and
or
fear.
they were conscripted by force by this warlord, because their response to get out there was, we're just pilots.
Well, yeah, because they're not combat trained. I think that if, I mean, look, I'm not here to defend anything, but I just think that I think it makes sense, I guess.
I immediately was like, is the Mandalorian just killing 2 random dudes right now who pose no threat to him whatsoever?
Nah, he's killing bad dudes. He's a good guy.
All right, that's fine. Anyway.
I don't know if anybody knows this, because if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, but the Hutt is a baby in the Clone Wars, and Ahsoka and Anakin go on a mission to save him. Ventress, who's Count Dooku's apprentice, shows up. Obi-Wan is there, and they call him Little Stinky. And the one thing that I was hoping is that even if it was a joke or like an offhanded comment, that somebody would call Rada like Stinky or Little or something. And the only thing that I was really hoping for was a mention of when I was hoping he'd be like, I got saved by Jedis one time when I was a kid, and that like really changed my opinion on my dad, like something. But I do like that they lean into the fact that he's Jabba the Hutt's son, and lean into the
Yeah.
fact that Jabba the Hutt was a fucking monster.
Well, so here's my next note before we even get there is Mandalorian goes and lands on whatever nameless planet where Sigourney Weaver is. And she's like, here's your new ship. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. We got the new Mandalorian ship, right? And it looks kind of like a Boba Fett style ship, right?
No, not even close.
No?
The
Okay.
Razor Crest
Whatever,
was
but-
his show was his one in the original show. Boba Fett's ship is a totally different one. It's the one that rotates.
So she gets him a stock Razor Crest, right? And she's like, it's stock. She's like, I took it out by myself. And I'm like, does everybody just fly everything?
Yeah.
In this, like, do the ships not have different, like, controls and commands based
When
on
you learn
their,
how
like,
to
size?
press the buttons that aren't labeled in one ship, you can press the buttons that aren't labeled in any ship.
I guess so. Anyway, like, maybe I'm overthinking it, but, like,
The Star
ultimately
Wars
I'm
flying
like,
has always
everybody
been,
just flies everything.
That's always kind of been a subject where, like, nothing is marked,
Yeah.
nothing is labeled, and people are just pressing random buttons and flipping
People are
switches.
just like, yeah, there you go. Yep. And then I put, so you guys have a deck of cards for terrorists like the U.S. does. It's good to see that's carried over to this universe. Because she's like, you got to go get the Ace of Staves. And then I wrote, hey, if you don't know who the guy is or his name, why is there an Ace of Staves anyway? Like, you don't even know if that guy exists. Like,
Because you
it's
gotta
like, you got to
complete
go
the
get our
deck.
nameless. We know there's a guy who's the Ace of Staves. And then they just leave, like, immediately. Like, he's like, I'll take the job. And they just leave.
Yeah.
No rest, no sleep. Just like, we're out. Peace.
It's still daytime. You didn't need to rest.
All right. Whatever. And then they go off to meet the twins. And if you know anything about Star Wars, you know that the twins are fucking gangsters and liars and thieves.
The Hutts.
And
They're a
so
crime
the-
syndicate.
And then he shows up and has a 2-minute conversation with them, takes them at their word at fucking face value, and just goes, all right, sounds good. See you later. I'll go do the job.
Well, I think that's set up because Sigourney Weaver's like, we've been establishing this relationship with them. If we do this for them, it'll help us build a relationship. So I feel like he went into, like, diplomatic mode a little bit.
The Mandalorian is supposed to be one of the best bounty hunters in the galaxy, which means that you understand deception and double cross and how shit like this goes.
And that's exactly
right?
what he
'Cause, like,
did.
in the first episode of The Mandalorian, I feel like he has more skepticism than at any moment in this movie.
Being a dad
I feel like in
changes
this
you,
movie we
Kevin.
are does it make you stupid?
He's not-
Because like
okay, well, he's
just
not stupid.
he goes in there like, you got to rescue this kid, and like he's like, all right, yeah, cool, nothing seems fishy here at all. See you later.
Well, I don't know. I think, and again, this comes from my love and knowledge of the Hutts and Star Wars and seeing everything. I think in his mind, if I had to guess, just based off of Dave Filoni's previous work with the Hutts and the twins specifically, I think it's set up that, you know, they're trying to build, the New Republic is trying to build a relationship with the Hutts. So if he does this job for the New Republic for the Hutts, then the New Republic benefits. And I think to him, he's like, the Hutts are bad. They want me to rescue a Hutt. They're all bad. I'll just do this because who cares? And I think that
everyone at every moment is like, yeah, look out for the Hutts. And he's like, yeah, all right,
but
cool,
I think
but I'm
there's
doing
a
a job
payoff
for them.
with
No
that
questions.
when Rada tells him, oh, the guy you're looking for, the guy they're going to lead you to is this. And he's like, you know what?
We'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that because I have anyway. But this just goes along with my point that like the dialogue's kind of dumb because everything's like very like flat. Right?
A little bit, but I don't think
I
it's
feel like
always like that.
I feel like all the scenes are just happening and then like Grogu's doing something cute in the background and that's kind of carrying the momentum of the scene forward.
I mean, I think people forget that that is a lot of Star Wars TV and movies in general. Like that is
is
lot.
Grogu doing stuff
Well,
in
no,
the
it's
background?
a lot of people doing stuff in the background. Like,
Yeah.
I think if I'm being totally unbiased, I think people forget that there are only a couple good Star Wars movies.
Yeah. Okay, and here's the other thing. I wrote this down. As he was going onto the planet, I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, all right. That's look, it's Chekhov's army of robots. Like, you know, like Chekhov's gun. Like,
Oh, yeah,
I'm
no,
showing
I
you
knew
a
something
gun
was
in the
gonna
first
happen
act.
with
It's
all
gonna come
those.
back in the
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, oh, it's Chekhov's army of robots. Oh, it's Chekhov's Amani. Oh, it's Chekhov. Like, oh, and then he's like pauses to look at the giant robots, and I'm like, it's Chekhov's giant robots. Like, I'm like. It was really funny. I'm like, you're telegraphing all of this. I'm like, oh, it's Chekhov's fighting pit. You know, like
I like that because it's showing how much security the Hutts have and how capable the Mandalorian and the New Republic are at taking that stuff out. Because in the final battle, nobody on the good side gets taken out, and I was like, good. For once, I don't like. They shouldn't. This should be where they just come in and steamroll these old school battle droids from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm saying in the beginning of this, there's literally there's a scene where he's looking at all the robots, and I'm like, yep, those will come back later. Thank you for telling me.
Painting a picture.
And then he pauses and looks at the giant robots, and it's like, okay, got it. Those are coming back. And then he pauses and looks over at where the door is, and he's like, I'm like, got it. That's coming back later. Thank you for telling me all these things that are coming back later.
Kevin, let me ask you this though. You just said that you think he was not skeptic and dumb. I feel like that was kind of showing that he's getting the lay of the land and paying attention to details. Because I feel like a lot of that comes back into play.
No, because it's the camera lens that's showing that, not the Mandalorian going, I need to be wary of that. And then when he comes back, all of that shit seems to take him by surprise.
I didn't get the vibe that he was surprised by it.
Okay, okay. And then, all right, so then my other note is they're so fat because the Hutts are all super fat.
Well, yeah, they're giant slugs.
And then he goes to the moon of Shakira, whose hips don't lie, right?
Sure.
Shakira, is that Shakira's moon?
Shikari? Yeah, Shikar, but yeah.
the moon of Enter Shikari. Anyway, I'm gonna call it the moon of Shakira. And then we get our first real cool Ludwig Göransson moment because there have been nice little tidbits throughout this, but then basically the beat for a Childish Gambino song plays in the background while he enters this super corrupt gambling world.
I really liked my note on that fight is, for one, I think it's really fun to see whatever the Hutt species is fight. The fact that they roll around and Rada's using his arms to propel himself forward and using his tail as a weapon. I think seeing him fight was kind of cool. I liked the fight that Rada and Mando do together against all the weird creatures. It reminded me of the hollow chess game that they're always playing on the Millennium Falcon, but in real life. All these weird creatures throwing each other around. I thought that gladiator fight was really, really fun, especially when all the creatures get loose.
That's amazing, and that I love that you jumped ahead to the action that we love so much. However, he lands and immediately just goes to the first random cook that he apparently
sees.
Martin
Scorsese.
And played by Martin Scorsese, and puts down and is like, hey, I want this sandwich for my little one. And then puts down money and is like, I'm looking for a Hutt. And the guy's like, don't talk about the Hutts. And then he's like, I'm looking for Rada the Hutt. And he's like, oh, everybody knows about Rada the Hutt. And then he's like, yeah, cool. I'm also looking for this other guy. And he's like, nope, not talking. I'm like, what is this scene where he's gathering? It feels so dialed in. There's no one else that he talks to. This random cook seems to know fucking everything. It feels very derivative and plot devicey.
I mean, I guess the alternative is what? He walks around and asks a bunch of people, and we get a montage of him asking a bunch of people?
No, that's not. No, there's so many other ways that you can show this. They could have even laid a little bit of dialogue with here's your contact, whatever. He just walks up to the guy. He's like, I'm looking for this, and it's like, all right,
and that's a very Star Wars thing. Yeah. That happens.
Okay.
That happens in episode 2. Obi-Wan goes to Dexter Jettster, and he's like, I know everything you need to know. It's kind of always been their scapegoat.
And Martin Scorsese's character is sometimes I go to the salt bar. Sometimes I go to this. Sometimes I go to that. He goes to the salt bar, walks through the entire bar, straight up racially profiles this guy and is like, you're the guy that I need to talk to. There's no no one has pointed him to this red-faced guy with horns on his head. He just walks up to the guy and he's like, I need to buy some salt. And the guy's like, we don't sell it. It's rations.
Kevin, are you sure you liked this movie at all?
I'm pointing out the writing is just it felt I'm like, how did you know that guy? What is... I mean... there's a lot of me going, you've never even been here. And you're just the guy's like, sometimes I go here. Sometimes I drop it here. And he's like, I guess I'm going to the salt bar. And, then he goes to the salt bar and he just... It feels like... You know how, in a video game, things are highlighted? It feels like he has, a highlight on things, and we don't have that as the audience.
I mean...
So he just walks up racially... and I wrote... oh, he just racially profiled that guy. And then immediately after like shit goes down, I'm like, oh, never mind. He didn't racially profile that guy. Like,
I feel like, but again, my thing with all of this is this is what Star Wars does. This is what they did. I think people forget this is what they did in Rogue One, which is a famously good one. This is what they do in Solo, which is a famously, well, I like that one. This is
Solo actually connects the things as they move along, though. That's
I'm saying
the thing.
that Star Wars
Solo actually connects the pieces and uses dialogue to set up the next thing.
There are moments in Solo and Rogue One and all Star Wars movies where people just know what to do. It's just always been a thing in Star Wars where they just kind of know who's in charge. Like, I mean, I feel like if we really wanted to break it down, like, I'm not disagreeing that it's not like something good. I'm just saying that like there has been instances where like a character in Star Wars like learns the smallest bit of information and just gets right to where they need to go right away. You know what I mean?
Okay. So this guy Janu comes out and he's like, I'm the one rationing the salt, and like starts talking to the Mandalorian. He's like, hey, I want to free this Rod of the Hutt guy. Right? And like Rod of the Hutt doesn't even want to go. He's just like, yeah, I've got one more fight and then I'm free. I can do whatever I want. I'm my own man. And then he goes to Janu, and Janu just like, he's like, yeah, too bad. I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, I did think that like him just admitting that to the Mandalorian was a little weird, but then I'm like, well, you know, this guy's a crime lord. He wants fighters. This is a Mandalorian is famously one of the best fighters in the galaxy, or was. To have one show up at your doorstep, you'd probably let your guard down a little bit and be like, oh, I want this guy. Like, how can I get this guy?
I guess, but like it ruins like it ruined like some of the stakes of it. Like hold that a little bit closer, you know?
Yeah.
Because he just like Mandalorian didn't even question him on anything. He's like, yeah, too bad you can't have him because I'm gonna kill him tomorrow. And he's like, what? And then he's like, yeah, you know, it's going to be like that special kind of fight. And then the Mandalorian immediately goes back to Rada. Like, he doesn't skip anything. Like, he literally just goes right back. He's like, well, this gangster known for being nefarious who just told me he's going to double-cross this guy after years of having him win him a bunch of money in the fighting pits is doing that. I guess I'll go right back there and assume that no one's watching me. And then Grogu breaks in for him, which is like a cute little scene. Once again, Grogu kind of like carrying the action that's moving the plot forward. And then he's in there and I'm like, you know, it's funny that there's no guards in here. You know, it seems suspicious that there's nothing else going on in here. You know, you think he would check out his surroundings. Like, and then Rod of the Hutt's like, he's like, oh, no, you know, like, he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm going to break you out. And then the vents, sure enough, there's gas. And I'm like, you know, like, this was the point. I made a note. I'm like, is the Mandalorian even a good bounty hunter anymore? Like,
well, I don't think he ever was, like, super good. I think it's kind of the Boba Fett effect, right? Where, like, yes, he looks cool, and yes, he has, like, one of the things, and I don't know if this is intentional or not in this movie, but the Mandalorian is only as good as his gadgets. There's a moment where he fights the guy that you're saying he racially profiled, and he's getting his ass kicked. And if he didn't have his whip or his like little rope that he can shoot out, and his flamethrower,
also,
and his knife, like the only reason he survives a lot of his instances is because he has these gadgets to rely on, which is kind of like the whole thing.
Also, I'm pretty sure that guy's name was Hog's Breath.
It is Hog's Breath,
which was I was like, fucking Hog's Breath? All right, whatever. Like, that's fine.
Don't judge Star Wars names.
Whatever. Yeah.
Bonkers.
And then, so they mentioned the pit fight, and I'm like, oh, Chekhov's pit fight. And then and the Mandalorian has a really funny line. I was like, oh, there's going to be a bunch of alpha males that don't like this. He goes, fighting's not a sport.
It's not.
Like,
it's not.
He goes, it's a last resort. But anyway, so then they've got to fight fucking a bunch of guys, because sure enough, the gangster who was nefarious and wanted the Mandalorian to fight in the fighting pits gasses him and then has him fight in the fighting pits alongside. First he has him fight Rada, right? And like they have their big fight, and he gets onto Rada's back and he's got his wire going on him, right? And then he's got a sword to his neck. Rada just falls backward. Literally just body slams him.
He body slams that guy in the beginning too.
He did. And what's funny about that is I'm like, you saw him body slam someone, and then you immediately got on his back and you were like, and gave him it, and you're like, I'm not going to kill you right now. And then he just body slams you. And I was like, dude, you weren't ready for him to just body slam you? Didn't you see that's his move?
Yeah, I guess. I think you thought about this movie way harder than I did.
It's because the movie's showing me. It's like, here's his move. His move's the body slam. And then the Mandalorian gets on his back, and I'm like, you better look out. He's going to body slam you. I feel like the Mandalorian is dumb in this. Like, he's like willfully ignorant to the world. Because, like, he just keeps not noticing things. Or if he's noticing them, he just continues forward bullheadedly anyway.
Well, I think that's kind of his strength, right? Like, he's a really good shot, and he relies on the fact that his armor protects him for the most part. Like,
kind of.
There's even a moment later on in the finale where he gets bit by something, and you can you get this sense of, like, shock that he got hurt because he has this armor, but it found the one of the spots where it can hurt him. I feel like
it didn't find it. It just had giant jaws.
Not that I think all Mandalorians were like this, because there was a point in history where Mandalorians were the best fighters, but I think it's the same. Actually, this is perfect because I've been waiting for a chance to kind of do this comparison when talking about Star Wars. People complain that the prequels had some of the best lightsaber duels we've seen, like fast movement, swinging, like real like the Obi-Wan Anakin fight on Mustafar is incredible. Right, like the choreography, the way they fight, and everything. And then they compare them to 7, 8, 9, where they're like, "How come we get this now?" Where like lightsabers feel heavy, and the fight, like they feel like there's so much force behind them, right?
Yeah.
And this is a hill I will die on and defend until I die. In the prequels, every Jedi you see is getting trained by a Jedi Master who has been around and used a lightsaber. When we get to Episode 7, you know what's missing? Jedi. So how are you going to learn the techniques of lightsaber dueling of days of old Jedi if there's none of those to teach you like how to do it? Like, yes, Luke is there.
Apparently there's a bunch of Force ghosts that can teach you.
Not lightsabers, but like Luke is there, but Luke wasn't an old school Jedi. Like the last old school Jedi was Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan couldn't train Luke the way he trained Anakin because of age and time and regret and guilt that we saw in the Obi-Wan show. So I think it's the same thing with the Mandalorians. This is post Episode 6. The fall of Mandalore has already happened. I think that it's more of relying on like him being a good shot. It's kind of like Dante from Devil May Cry. Like he knows that he can just like kind of run in because he's got this armor and whatnot, and like kind of rely on raw talent to get him where he needs to be.
If you see a giant slug body slam someone, do you jump on that giant slug?
I think he was just really hoping that Rada would see.
He's being a good guy. Anyway, so then he bests Rada and he's like, I yield. Rada wins.
Give him
his
freedom.
Yeah, and then Janu stands up and has one of the dumbest lines in the entire. He just goes, "He's free to die," which is such a Dr. Evil moment for such a Dr. Evil character. Also, at this point, I think it's fairly obvious that Janu is the guy that Mandalorian has come to look for. I think that's fairly certain because you paint it in the beginning like usually these guys who are in charge of planets are connected to the Empire, and that's why. Like they've got the warlord who's like in charge of a bunch of stuff. He's connected to the Empire. Then he's looking for Janu. He never even like. What's funny about the Janu thing is like they're like we're looking for this guy, Commander Coin, and then like he meets this guy and he's like, I'm only gonna give you my first name, and I was like, all right,
but that's also not uncommon in Star Wars.
Whatever. Anyway, so then they got to fight like 7 dudes, and I've given us fun names, and you can pick which one's your favorite out of these. Here's the fun names I've got for the dudes. Lizard LeBron, and you can probably picture them as I say them. Lizard LeBron, Gorilla Toad, Sparky, the grossest axolotl, Jelly Bones, and Snuffles, and legally distinct Deathclaw.
Legally distinct Deathclaw. I thought that fight was really good because the electric guy ends up getting used to like take down the fence. These creatures get loose in the streets. But I guess my question about the whole Janu thing for you real quick is...
Hit me.
And maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but I feel like they did a pretty good job of hiding any kind of Empire ties. He's not... There's not a mention of the Empire with him. There's no stormtroopers.
The guy has a stranglehold on the planet and is rationing the salt for everyone. That's very Empire
Well,
coded.
that's looking at it through Kevin. That's looking at it through the lens of assuming that everybody that's
of
a
anyone
warlord
who
is following the Empire. Because
That's-
how do you think warlords were before the Empire existed, Kevin? Do you think that
that's
you know?
looking at it through the lens of someone who has as much interaction with the Empire as I have. Now, that being said, Mandalorian has infinitely more interaction with the Empire than I do. I just think there's a lot of stuff in this movie specifically that's like very obvious. And so that's where I think genuinely and what like cuz like I really wanted this to I thought the movie was going to be at least good, right? And then as I was watching it in the very beginning, I'm like, "Oh, cool, the action sequences are good. This is good." And then as the movie went on, I'm like, "Oh, this dialogue and world building is actually not great." And that's what brought it down to just fun for me. This just felt like a ride. That being said, Pedro Pascal in an interview did say that he remembers the Star Wars movies just being like a roller coaster ride, just being like a ride as a kid, and that how much he enjoyed that. And I kind of like, it made me think back on it. I'm like, yeah, a lot of these movies are kind of more of like a roller coaster ride. And there are some deeper moments, but I even think this is missing some of like the nuance and dialogue of like the older Star Wars movies, you know, where there's like something deeper and meaningful, and they do kind of phone something like that in later, where like there's like he's like, hey, I've learned what it's like to be a dad and care for Grogu, but like all the way up to this point, the world building and stuff like that is just it's not great, but the fight's good.
Well, I would
the
say
pit fight's good.
The one thing I will say about the world building in this, and I think this just comes from being a Star Wars fan, I think it gets a pass on that for me because it doesn't need to build a world that's got all of this stuff before it that really builds it. Like, again, like a lot of things that I'm like, oh, well, like if you think about it like this, that is the world building already being established, adding context.
By the world building being not good, what I mean is there are things that are obvious within it that they're withholding information on that I'm not surprised by. We talk about this a lot. When like the reveal comes, when the punchline comes, even if you know it, there's a way for it to be satisfying. And I feel like the vast majority of this movie, the reveal came and I was not satisfied. Like I was just kind of like, yes, I knew that. Okay, cool. Now we can move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that
and that happened with Janu. That happened with this fight. Like he's like Rada, he's gonna double cross you, and I'm like, Mandalorian, he's gonna fucking double cross you. Like
I think that's kind of
here we are.
The case with like honestly, when it comes to Star Wars, there's not even 7, 8, 9 for the first time. Solo, like when Emilia Clarke like betrays him in the end, like I feel like Star Wars is not good at hiding. Like, of course, it has one of the best reveals in cinematic history with Darth Vader, but like that's a one-time reveal, right? Like, and now even if you don't. There's no way you wouldn't know that going into Star Wars, even if you've never seen Star Wars. Like, you most likely would know that, you know? So I feel like Star Wars has never really been good at, like, giving you a moment where you go, oh, no way. You know what I mean? Like, there's never really been a moment where, like, well, I guess the last one for me was when it turned out Luke wasn't fighting Kylo Ren in Episode 8, when he's just, like, a projection.
I was going to say, Episode 8, written by Rian Johnson, phenomenal. Andor, phenomenal. Rogue One, even Rogue One, where, like, and this is what I'm saying, even Rogue One, even the very end of Rogue One, you know where we're going from the fucking first moment of the movie. It's satisfying. When you get to the end, you're like, yep, no one survives.
Well, I don't mean
it's
satisfying.
It's satisfying. And that's what I mean by world building. Like, it's not a surprise. The information, none of that information was withheld from you, but you get to the end and you go, that was good, right? And there's a lot of moments in this movie where it's like, here's a thing that we're setting up, and I'm like, I see you setting up the thing, and then we get to the thing, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I knew that was coming. Got it.
Yeah, I just mean like,
just felt rote.
I just feel like Star Wars has never been good at giving you reveals that you don't see coming. Not to say they can't be satisfying.
But we're in a post-Rogue One, post-Andor, post-Episode 8 space. You know what I mean? Like, there's been enough moments where it's been good, where it's like, you could step up your game. Like, there is a bar here now.
Well, I think
for some of us.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think that the fact that this is the first Star Wars movie since Episode 9, and it's kind of, again, I enjoyed it for what it was, and I had a great time,
Yeah.
which is exactly what I said would happen last weekend on the pod. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna love it, like no matter what. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, it is just 3 episodes of The Mandalorian. Like, it's 2 hours and 10
There it
minutes.
is.
It is quite literally 3 45-minute episodes.
There it is.
And you can
With
tell
3 writers.
And you can tell, and I said this at the top of this episode, you can tell where the episode would have, like, where the credits would have started and the next episode would have started. And like, is that's not what we should be getting as Star Wars fans. This is definitely muddying the waters a little bit on the quality of movies
100%.
in the Disney era of Star Wars that people already have a negative opinion on. But I think I think this might be more for people like me, where it's like, we know that you're going to be at the back of the theater cheering and crying and having fun because you just love this universe. And there's nothing wrong with that. But even me, I'm like, I'm at a point with Star Wars where let's do something new. Let's do something different. Let's go back in time. Let's go further in time. Like, let's get out of this time period between episode 6 and episode 7 that we're just like stuck in.
Yeah. Okay. All criticism aside for a minute, really good action sequence, really good fight scene. And I when they revealed each thing that was fighting, it seemed like all of them were unique enough. Even Gorilla Toad, which was really funny because I'm like, that thing's gigantic. Why does it have a club? Like,
why not?
Doesn't even need it. But yeah, why not? But then immediately in the fight, and I do want to point this out, the Mandalorian pulls the exact same move he just pulled on fucking Rada the Hutt on Lizard LeBron immediately. Just jumps on his back, and I'm like, well, all he has to do is fall backward. We've seen this already. Like,
yeah.
I was like, that thing's even bigger than Rada the Hutt. Why did you do the same thing? Anyway.
Okay, for the sake of time, real quick, I wanna.
No, this is gonna be a 3-hour episode where I dissect all the things wrong. With this.
I want to speed fire.
Rapid fire.
Let me rapid fire a couple of my notes.
You want to move us forward?
I'm gonna move us forward.
Okay.
I like that at the Hutt Palace, you get to see a lot of old battle droids, including V1 and V2s. I thought that was really cool. A lot of different droids from different eras in Star Wars that I was like, oh, that's cool to see all these. It's like a droid armada that just like does security, which I think is like really funny because famously droids are bad at their job and they're bad at their job. So I thought that was like, numbers mean nothing with droids, which I think is really funny. One of my notes after he rescues Rada is, this is just Pedro Pascal doing a voiceover going on an adventure with CGI buddies as his stand-in. Like, this is just a guy in a Mandalorian suit with 2 green tennis balls next to him and Pedro Pascal's voiceover. Like,
100%.
a majority of this movie is like in front of the volume, just CGI and voiceover, which I think is funny. I really liked the moment after after Coin betrays them and everything, Rada tells Mando, hey, Coin's the guy you're looking for. They go back to his, like, house. What is it? Like, his villa?
Okay. Yes. Hold on. Let me throw this in real quick. After the fight's already over, Rada goes, wow, I guess the fix was in. And I'm like,
no shit.
Why did you say that now? You're out on the street. Like, I'm like, yeah, you fucking think, dude? Like, anyway. Then they go, so then they're leaving, and Rada's like, by the way, Janu is Coin. And I'm like, and then they go back, and they go to his fucking beach house property, which apparently just exists somewhere different from that giant city. So they go to the giant beach house property. Coin is in there, and he's like, I want everybody looking out for this Mandalorian guy. He's right there on the beach. He's like, I want everybody looking for him. Like he didn't already have this conversation like 6 hours ago when it was still nighttime. And then Mandalorian walks in and he's like, he's already here.
I like that. I thought that was kind of fun.
Here's the thing. He was just on the beach. And then he does the he's already here thing. The only thing I don't like about that, there's still a fuck ton of stormtroopers. Like, you didn't even show me the ones he took out to get in.
He snuck in.
Like, whatever.
Yeah. I liked
whatever.
One of the moments I liked, and I wrote it down because I was like, this is, I was laughing. I thought this was good. When Mando and Zeb, who is from Rebels, which I liked having him in this, when they have Coin and they're getting back to the ship on a speeder and they're like, you guys need to fly the ship and come pick us up. And Rada's like, I can't fly. And he looks over at Grogu and he's like, can you fly? And it's like, you're asking a baby. He can fly a speeder. But then I thought it was really cute and funny, and maybe it's not, but I liked it. When Grogu starts accidentally firing all the missiles,
Oh yeah,
I thought that
was good.
great.
That was good. There's a lot of Grogu moments that were great. Then they get Coin on the ship. Coin immediately is just like, yeah, I'll tell you
Whatever you want, just don't kill me.
And that's, I guess, my main point is it feels like the first and second act of this film, all the way up to robot samurai battle with the Mandalorian in the rain, was like all kind of dialed in to build up to this point that actually had tension.
Embo is not a droid.
Oh, he's not?
I could see why.
What is that guy?
Would think that. His race is Kyuzo.
Okay.
Not droid. He's a
droid.
He's an alien, but he does have a hat.
They do not make him seem like a droid. They make him seem like a droid.
He is. He's got a hat similar to Kung Lao.
Okay. Yeah. So alien Kung Lao. Who's awesome.
So I wanted to talk about him because this was one of the
What's
things.
his name? Imbo?
Embo.
IMBO?
EMBO.
EMBO.
This was something that when, again, not knowing that he was going to be in this, when he showed up, for me, again, I love the Clone Wars show. So when he showed up, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I think they handled him really well. I really liked the way that he was included in this. He gives Anakin a run for his money in the Clone Wars. So this guy is fucking skilled. Granted, that's Anakin's pretty peak in the Clone Wars, but like he's not as strong as he could be. But still, Embo gives Jedi Knights multiple times like runs for their money, including other bounty hunters. So, which I think is funny because Embo actually ends up getting hired by Darth Vader. So Anakin hires a bunch of bounty hunters that he worked like against during the Clone Wars, which I think is really an interesting kind of addition to like Boba Fett, because Anakin was there when Jango got his head cut off. I really liked Embo's inclusion. I thought that was really nice to show somebody more powerful than the Mandalorian because Embo outclasses him, and I thought that was really nice.
Okay, yeah. No, when he
would.
first shows up and he's got like this dog with him, like this weird
Bat dog.
little like alien dog thing, a little bat dog thing. Like when he first shows up, I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is nice. This is interesting. Because honestly, up to that point, like I was starting to get tired. I was like, okay, yeah, got it. I see where we're going. And like, Sigourney Weaver's like, the twins will be mad that you rescued Rada and you're not returning him. And I'm like, okay, yeah, got it. And like, honestly, they got done with the mission. I'm like, wow, that was fast. How long was that? That was only like 45
That was like an
minutes.
episode of The Mandalorian.
Right. Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, we're already done with that. I thought that was going to be the whole movie. And then he goes to Mandalore, and a really funny moment. I went to go see this movie with a friend of mine, and I was like, he's on the planet. He's on the planet that the Mandalorians are from. I forget what it's called.
He's not on
And then
Mandalore.
I was like, oh, Mandalore. That was Mandalore with all the fucking volcanic ash and shit, right? Isn't it?
I don't think that was Mandalore.
That's Mandalore, dude. That's where his home base is now.
I don't think that was Mandalore.
I'm pretty fucking sure
Maybe
it's
it was.
Mandalore. I'm pretty fucking sure it's Mandalore. But like he goes there, and then fucking Embo shows up and kicks his ass, and then he's captured again. And I was like, okay, cool, rock on. I like that he was. I like this whole part where like they've increased the stakes again. You knew that the twins were going to double cross him, and then he shows up, and the twins are like, "Hey, fight this thing. What's the thing called? It looks like a dragon and a snake. It's a dragon snake. Okay, perfect.
Water
Got it.
dragon
Nail in
snake,
the
I
head.
think is what they called it. It's in
You
the water.
did it. It's a water dragon snake. Got it.
That was a good fight, though. I liked that.
Interesting fight. For the second time, Grogu and the little mechanic guys, who are actually probably my favorite part of the entire
I liked
film.
them a lot.
The little mechanic
Bad
guys.
baby.
Bad
baby.
Hey, bad baby. And I like that they just keep saying baby.
Yeah.
They're fun. But they have to rescue Mandalorian. He gets bit by a snake, and then we get the cool moment where Grogu's having his little like outing on his own. He's got to survive on his own, and we're seeing for the first time like Grogu's actual like training, and he has that cool interaction with a fisherman played by whoever. I don't know who voiced the fisherman
I couldn't
character.
find it.
But whatever.
Yeah.
probably a cameo of some sorts.
I agree with you because literally one of my notes when Grogu gets in the ship with the little mechanics, I wrote down Grogu's going on a mission. Hell yes, like that was needed, and I think that you're right. Like it's definitely one of the highlights of this because he builds a little like enclosure to keep him hidden. He
little mud hut.
He does force healing, but it doesn't work. He doesn't understand why because he understands how to heal, but he doesn't understand the concept of the venom being in him, which I thought was really good. He I thought that whole sequence was really good.
Then we see
but
Embo show up.
One thing I did like is the Hutts taking off Mando's helmet because they knew it would shame him. I thought that was a really good moment too. Yeah. Like personally, I was like, oh, that's clever because it really sets up his like coming back and being like, I liked his line where they're like, you shamed him. He's like, not if I kill you, then you won't be shamed. But
yeah, and like so this part, like I really like Grogu, and like this was the part where I was like, is this just 3 episodes? Like that's where I was really like, oh, this is completely different from the second part, which was completely different from the first part, and they all kind of felt different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, Chekhov's robot army, Chekhov's giant robot warlords, all of the stuff that they showed us in the first act come back, and Mandalorian just is like absolutely wasting droids. Left and right, who look pretty distinct, and I thought they were going to be more of a challenge for him. You know, like I was like, oh, this is kind of like Rambo. Let's see what happens in the wilds. And then he's just like, nope.
Yeah, they're droids.
Like
they're old,
just killing them all.
Old battle droids that are outdated.
Yeah,
makes sense. They're probably, let's see, we're post episode 6. Those droids are anywhere from 25 to 30 years old. You know,
and then we get like the showdown with Embo, and I thought this was probably the best part of the whole movie.
Oh,
you get like a proper, like it pans out. You get like the full like panoramic view. It almost looks like a side scroller fighter. Like I was like, oh, cool. What a nice moment to build up. And like he's already been beaten by this guy, and that's where I would say to juxtapose my hard feelings about the lack of world building and dialogue in the beginning, and like meaning and like the way that things are presented to you. He's already been beaten by Embo. So when they're facing off for a second time, I'm like, oh, you actually don't know how this is going to go, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for me, all of a sudden there's tension, there's stakes that we've built up to this point. Anything that happens seems like it's going to be satisfying. And it was a really great fight sequence. Honestly, that alone was worth the ticket price. So which was 50 cents for me. But I thought that was really good. Resolution of the film's fine. And then he goes back to the planet, and they're like, "We got another job for you, maybe." And he's like, "I guess I'm taking off again without resting."
I liked the way the Hutt twins went out. That they okay, I wrote down.
Yeah, break that down for me because you're the star. You handle the rest of this because any critique I have at this point is redundant. It's the stuff that to me brought this down to just being fun remained there.
Yeah, which
you know
is
what
totally
I mean?
fair. I like that we get a slug fight. Like just watching 3 big slugs just
rolling
around.
around.
Punch each other.
Also, Rada's jacked. Like,
dude,
did you
great.
really think you stood a chance, twins?
Yeah.
Come on.
I think that them getting eaten by the water dragon snake was a really good end.
That was good.
And I will admit,
poetic.
There's a trap door, and that's how they send Mando down there the first time. And then they're fighting on it. The door breaks, and everybody, Embo, his dog, the Hutt twins, and Rada, all fall through. And I knew it was going to happen. It was Chekhov's forced levitation, if you will. But when Rada slowly rises up and Grogu saved him, I was like, I like that. That was good.
Yeah.
And I really liked that they're down at the pit and the Hutts are like, bounty hunter, Embo, save us. And he's like, nah. And just dips out through the water drain with his dog.
Oh, that was great.
Nah, I'm good.
He's like, no, I'm a bounty hunter, not a fucking
snake
savior.
killer. Yeah.
Oh, you thought I had morals?
No. You paid me. I'm out.
Embo's like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'll survive to fight Mandalorian again.
While all of that is going on, you get, or after that, you get the big X-Wing, Y-Wing coming in. The little mechanic guys are like, Mando, we're back with reinforcements. Sigourney Weaver is piloting an X-Wing. That's fucking cool. Zeb's there.
She can fly anything.
Dave Filoni's in one. That's cool. Not really.
For no reason.
For no reason.
Thanks.
I really liked there's always a spaceship battle, and I appreciate that in Star Wars because one of my favorite things in Star Wars is the fighter pilot kind of aspect. I liked that not a single one of them got taken down because usually we always lose a couple rebels, right? There's always a couple good guys that get shot down. But I like that they just came in and wiped the floor with them. I think that
this was one that kind of showed their prowess.
It kind of needed that to be like, this is just a battle of old droids that are pretty outdated and pretty dumb, and they just wreck everything with the Hutts. And at the end, Sigourney Weaver's like, well, yeah, they were betraying us, so like we took them all out. Like.
Yeah. All in all, at the end of it, fun movie. Glad I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I honestly, I'm afraid to rewatch it. I feel like if I rewatch it, I'm just
You're gonna like it less.
All that's gonna stand out even more to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just a family adventure movie in space. It's space fantasy, fun stuff for people to watch. So.
Again, like I said last week, and
could have been worse.
Building up to this is exactly what I thought it would be for me. It was a fun, good ride in the Star Wars universe with things I enjoy, and that was all I needed.
See, Star Wars did the disservice of giving us Andor, and now I have a bar in the universe. I have a quality that I would like to see repeated in that universe. So we also saw I Love Boosters. You saw it last night very late.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this is one of the best movies I've seen all year.
Really?
Not only that, it's one of the most unique movies all year, and it's one of the most visually coordinated movies I've seen all year. It is absolutely phenomenal. I loved everyone's performance in it. I don't think this movie at any point really loses my interest, even when there's so many fucking things going on at once. Like, insane the amount of things Boots Riley can put into a film and just absolutely knock it out of the park for me. He's like Wes Anderson with more style. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say this, and I've been trying to wrap my brain around it, and I think maybe it was a movie I saw last year, and I could look at my list and probably point it out. But I've never seen a Boots Riley movie before, so this was my introduction to it.
So good.
And yeah, it does have like a little bit of that Wes Anderson hyper-realistic fake world aspect to it, but like I don't know what it is or what it reminded me of, but there's something to it that I think 90% of the time works in this movie for me. Maybe 85% of the time.
90% of the time.
I think it works almost all the time, but not all of it quite landed for me personally, but most of it did. I would say this movie, I think I would have it right now at a very high good, but I think I could see this being bumped up to great the more I marinate on it.
I think this movie's great, and I thought it was great. Like, I thought it was great when I left. I was laughing the loudest out of anybody in my theater. I was having a great fucking time with this movie. I was cracking up the entire time. I love Boosters, and here's a funny thing about this, and I just connected this yesterday, but I'm a Virgo. Which was on Amazon Prime. Sorry to Bother You, which is a Boots Riley film. I don't know. Do you haven't seen that one?
I haven't seen that one. I should watch that.
With Lakeith Stanfield. It's so fucking good. And then this movie, I Love Boosters. They all tie back to people finding unification and class solidarity with one another to defeat and or resist their global oppressors, aka the final line of the fucking Communist Manifesto, like, which is wild. And this one is the most on the head. This is very much a working class revolting against the bourgeoisie type movie. You know what I mean?
100%. And I think, it's funny because you talk about, and this is a good comparison in my mind. You talked about how like some of the writing in Star Wars is like it's kind of dry, or it feels like they're talking about what's happening.
This particular movie that we saw was very dry. Yeah.
I think there's a moment, in I Love Boosters, and I think it's so funny, but like they just find a teleporter and they're like, oh, but it can also do these other things, and like and they explain it. One of the characters just like rambles this jargon, and I'm just like,
it's got 3 modes.
That went all over my head. I understand what this thing. One teleports, one destroys, and one amplifies. Cool. Like,
but spoilers for I Love Boosters. If you haven't seen it, go fucking see it.
I would say definitely go see this.
If you haven't seen a Boots Riley film, go see all the Boots Riley films. They're so fucking good. Sorry to Bother You is amazing. I Love Boosters is amazing. I'm a Virgo on Amazon Prime is amazing. Yeah. It's all fucking good. And they all have like these weird elements to it. Like like the giant trash ball that's a metaphor for like all the things that are in the back of her mind and like her own really like stress about the modern world and all the things that are constantly
getting evicted
that we're always thinking about. Yeah. That metaphor, fucking Lakeith Stanfield being a demon that sucks people's souls out like for no fucking reason. It doesn't even progress the plot other than to be a metaphor for that type of person. Will Poulter is absolutely phenomenal in this movie.
Needed more of him.
I didn't even need more of him. If we had more of him, I wouldn't have complained. But he was so good. He was such a good like henchman style foil for like them to be up against. Like like from the moment that he has like the music on max vibes and he's like, I can't hear you. Like I was just like, I love that he's playing this character in this film.
Perfect.
Like, and then he turns it down to like soft jazz and he's like
the vibes, he's like, mid vibes, low vibes, max vibes.
Max vibes.
That shit was so funny.
And I love that like they have like 30-second lunch breaks and it's like this very cartoony moment.
Yeah. That was good
like
too.
And like, okay, so I did not see the fucking teleporter thing coming.
No,
I had no idea that was gonna happen in this film. I was like, like all of a sudden she's sucking, and they're like, she's got a magic bag, and I'm like, well, that would be in a Boots Riley film.
Same.
I was like, magic bag checks, and then they're like, actually, it's a teleporter. I'm like, that's fucking like I was cracking up. And then when they're like, it also does situational acceleration, and then it also deconstructs. And, like, just the sheer number of silly things that happen with that in this fucking film. When they situationally accelerate a cop car and it's fucking Eric Andre in a giant cop tank, like, fucking out of this world hilarious. The use of models in this to, like, show, like, the cartoony elements.
Because
they do that. The stop motion. They do that in Sorry to Bother You too. So like all of these elements have been, and in I'm a Virgo, all these elements are signature Boots Riley stuff. Savage Rose Productions, I believe, is Boots Riley's production facility. I can't wait for the next movie that he does. I genuinely like I could go, we could have a whole other episode on this and we don't need to. Just go see it. Yeah, it's really good.
I don't have a lot of thoughts. It's exactly the kind of movie that you want to see with a little bit of fun in your system. I feel like that really amplified it for me, at least.
You got to be ready for some silliness.
I think, it honestly, it's just a wild ride and one that I was really happy to take.
All the way through. And you know what? You want to talk about, like, I genuinely want to highlight that Boots Riley has written not just one, but 5 strong female characters who just carry the fucking movie. And there's no, going back to like, you know, probably the biggest example of this ever was when the Wonder Woman movie came out and everybody was all pumped up. We were like, female superhero, here we go. And then she's like, actually, everything's about my love story. Like, and we were like, well, fuck. She's like, actually, the whole world is really important to me because of Chris Pine. And I'm like, no, don't do that.
It's really
this movie
her
does
out.
not fucking do that for a second.
No.
Even when Lakeith Stanfield comes up, he actually distorts. I love how every time he comes up, he's talking, he gets his own theme music in the background. It's distorting the movie. It's distracting from the plot. That's why he's there. Like, it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
This movie is phenomenal.
It's good. It might even be great. I'd have to.
It's one of the best movies of the year.
Ask me again next week how I feel about it, and I'll.
It's so fucking good.
And I'll let you know. I think I need to go.
It's the opposite of the dry dialogue of Mandalorian and Grogu. Everything is good.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
When they're walking out of the fucking designer store for the first time and they're just like, she's like stuffed her fucking
That was really good.
sweatsuit and the other girl's just got stuff falling out of her skirt. I'm like, my God.
I love how
It's so good.
one of my favorite things in this movie is how a lot of the fashion is like the monochromatic one color, but every outfit they wear is like, it's so much more amplified and like elevated.
So good.
It's subtle things like that that really,
And then Will Poulter's like, they're like, we are monochromatic. He's like, yeah, but that's the style from last year. And I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, yes, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for having that moment. And it just shows like the bourgeoisie having this control. Like she's like, people are our art. And then at one point her secretary goes, I think people want to be the artist and not the art.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yep.
Like Boots Riley does a really good job of embedding the meaning of the movie into the movie in like little tiny pieces of dialogue.
Yeah.
And dude, you should go watch Sorry to Bother You because it's so fucking and Sorry to Bother You, without spoiling anything, has a moment much like I Love Boosters where all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? What is happening now? Like, it's really, really good. Yeah. So that's it. Let's what's your jam?
That's my jam.
We don't need to talk about that anymore. We're already almost at 2 hours of
Yeah.
recording because Mandalorian. I knew we were going to talk about Mandalorian and Grogu for a long time. I didn't know, and I should apologize to you. I didn't know I was going to have that many criticisms of the film. They were all in my notes, though. I was like, oh yeah, and then this. Oh yeah, and then this.
That's fair.
But
I mean, I think I always knew I was going to be in the seat that I'm in where I'm going to be defending it a little bit and agreeing a little bit.
Here's what I'll say. Maybe all of those things that I noticed are because I hold those three writers to a higher standard than what we got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Or maybe that all those things felt that way as a product of having three writers. Maybe that was too many.
I think it was
too
many.
Yeah. So I think a lot of my criticisms come down to the fact that like there were three writers, it felt like three separate things, and it ended up like all in all kind of just being a little too obvious.
Well, I think that's a big problem is if you have Dave Filoni and then the other guy was Noah, I forget his last name, and then you have John
Favreau.
Dave and Noah wrote Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian. So when you have two writers that are used to, and Ahsoka and Clone Wars, they're used to writing things in an episode-like nature. I think having them, it was always going to feel like two or three episodes switched together, you know? And I think that is, I think it becomes very clear when Embo shows up that like, oh, like, now we're in the next episode. Like, you can, and again, I don't disagree. You can feel where these episodes start and end, you know?
Yeah. Well, and like in my mind, I'm almost like, why not just do Mandalorian and Grogu as its own separate like mini series to fill the space? Because they're going to do another season, aren't they?
No, they're done.
No, we're done.
I think they're going to end this whole time period after Ahsoka season 2. This whole post episode 6. So this is it. Yeah, this should be it.
So this is it for the Mandalorian. He puts Rada the Hutt in charge, and then he and Grogu just go off.
Yeah, we don't know what happens to him.
All right, whatever. That's fine, I guess. What's your jam this week?
Well, I Love Boosters was gonna be my jam actually because
that was gonna be my jam too.
Yeah, I didn't really watch a whole lot. I started Devil May Cry season 2, but I got like halfway through the first episode and was like, I need to rewatch season 1. I forgot everything that happened. And other than that, I really haven't done much. I haven't really been consuming in terms of watching or in terms of listening. I've kind of just been listening to Critical Role Campaign 4, so not a lot on that front. It's kind of just been a normal non-consumption week.
So I've got a couple musical jams this week. One is Quinn Olton. Quinn Olton is making kind of like a glitchy post lo-fi modern jazz that has a lot of lyrics that tend to touch on like modern topics that we deal with, like misinformation, our lack of human connection, things like that. I think it's really cool, real heady, and I highly recommend getting into that. So Quinn Olton, spelled Oulton. highly recommend checking out Quinn Olton. And then my other jam this week, which I have down in my jams. Where did I put it? Was Tree City Sessions 3. Dance Gavin Dance put out Tree City Sessions 3, which is a compilation of songs over the course of Dance Gavin Dance's discography. Usually fans have a little bit of say in this, or they just kind of like pick things that people love hearing or haven't heard live in a long time, and they put them together as a live album. They do these as studio sessions typically. Tree City Sessions 2, during the pandemic, they actually were they took the opportunity to play that album live on the Sacramento Bridge, which was really cool. This new session series was done all in studio, and they filmed it as well. So I highly recommend checking those out if you're a fan of Dance Gavin Dance or Swancore, or just like post-hardcore in general. And then Quinn Olton for your more easy listening. That is all I've got this week. What the fuck are we watching next week?
I don't think there's anything next week because the week after, the first weekend of June is He-Man.
I'm pretty sure Backrooms comes out next week.
Yes, it's
dude.
Backrooms. I do want to watch that. That was good.
I was like,
It's Backrooms and then Masters of the Universe.
oh, great. So, Backrooms looks amazing. Liminal space horror based off of a video game that became popular on 4chan or something.
Like Steam or
Forever
something.
ago.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. But Backrooms looks really good. I'm really excited to see that for next week. So, thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of the UnPop Podcast. Thank you for weathering this absurd existence with us. We hope that you find a teleporter or a time machine at some point in your existence. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about our mental health subpoenas, or you would like us to podcast live at your funeral, please email mysecretpoweris@gmail.com. Art by FrankAce. Music by moi. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.